One of the things I get asked for most often is cookery videos and particularly breakfast ideas. And for some reason, breakfast seems to be an issue for people who think that it should come out of, or maybe it's always come out of cereal boxes. And suddenly, when you take cereal off the menu, they don't know what to do. So this is a real high protein, simple, easy breakfast, but you can also make it in advance. And 1 red onion chopped up, and you can like make it the night before, take it in a lunch box, and you can make so many variations of it. It's kind of like frittata. I've got some fresh garlic here, which I'm just gonna, if you squash garlic like that with the side of the knife, it makes it really easy to peel. I'm just going to chop this up while I tell you a little bit more about this recipe. I've actually, for once, I've noted down all the ingredients. I've put them into chronometer so I can give you at the end an exact recipe with all the macros. How much is, how much protein, how much fat, how much carbs is in this recipe. And I'm going to make it vegetarian because sometimes I do eat a vegetarian meal, but I'm also going to give you some alternatives. So that onion is just going to be cooking away there in 1 ounce of butter, and just want it to cook till it's got some colour, so I've turned it up quite high. Right, meanwhile I've chopped up my garlic. I won't put that in just yet because garlic will burn if you put it in too early. That was about 3 cloves of garlic. I'm going to use some Parmesan Reggiano, which is looks like that in the packet, and I'm going to use 2 ounces of that. So while that gets ready, I'll just grate this up. Breakfast doesn't have to be breakfast cereal, ever. Don't even think about it. It is the worst thing you can do for your system is to put a load of sugar in it first thing in the day. You will spike your blood sugar, and then your insulin will go up in response. And if you're already, I don't know, 40, 50, insulin resistance has set in, you're knocking on the door of diabetes, type 2 diabetes, which is different from type 1 diabetes in that you give it to yourself. It's not something you're born with. You give it to yourself through poor diet, so you don't want that. So what I want here is about 2 ounces, about 50 grams of Parmesan. So the way to avoid that is to stop. One of the things you can do immediately is stop eating dessert for your breakfast. I mean, it's just crazy, isn't it? If you think of it in terms of things out of packets that have tigers on the front, and you cover it in milk, often low-fat milk, which incidentally has loads more sugar than full-fat milk, because in order, when they take the fat out, there's more of the sugary substance left behind. More of the milk with the sugar in it, and milk sugar is called lactose, but it's still turned into sugar by the body. Right, this is feta cheese. Now you can use any cheese. It doesn't have to be feta. This is feta with made with sheep's milk. I'm going to use about half of that, so that's just half that little packet. And this portion that I'm making up here is for 2 people. From 2 portions, so you can eat half now, save half for later, or put it into lunch boxes, as I said. And you can also play around with all the ingredients like I do. I never follow recipes, so when people ask me for recipes, it's like, oh God, what did I put in that? I use about half of that, as I said. I'm just going to chop that up so that it's ready to chuck in the pan in a minute. But yes, any cheese you fancy. I like feta because it's made with sheep's and goat's cheese often. You can find it with cow as well. And some people aren't good with dairy, but they'll be fine with sheep or goat's cheeses. Sheep or goat's milks. They're different from cow's milk. Oh, it's a right old messy packet, that one. I'm using a courgette. My onion's doing well. Putting the lid on cooks it faster, of course. This is a ceramic coated pan. rather than a non-stick pan, because non-stick has chemicals in it that I don't want to use anymore. I'm going to put that courgette in there. I'm going to add some tomatoes. And some chopped up mushrooms. So now we've got lots of veg, and for those of you who think that I don't eat veg, I do eat veg, I just don't eat as many as I used to, because I ate so many vegetables for so many years, and not just vegetables but all the grains, all the whole grains, until I completely wrecked my gut. So now I just eat low oxalate vegetables. Right, on top of that, while that's cooking, I'm going to put some paprika. Right, you can flavour this however you like. There are no hard and fast rules. That's about half a teaspoon of paprika. I like things a little bit spicy. Here's some coriander leaf, about a teaspoon of that. Again, any herbs you fancy. Bit of Tabasco, my favourite, and it's a fermented food, and all the ingredients is chilies and salt. Salt, that's about half a teaspoon. I'm going to put 2 of those. Again, salt to taste, but don't be afraid of salt. Remember, it's super good for us, and it's absolutely essential. It's essential for so many functions in the body that James Di Nicolantonio has written a whole book for us all about why we shouldn't fear it, why it's so essential. And conversely, even though we were led to believe for many years, or still being told this by various health professionals, that salt is bad for us and it will raise your blood pressure, it actually does the opposite. Lowers blood pressure. People who reduce salt can suffer from hypertension, and that's a thing you never alter. Right, I've put that garlic in now because it's got all the other vegetables in there too, and now I'm just going to let that cook for a bit. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of oh dear, this bottle doesn't want to give up its olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. And like I said, I'm going to put the recipe so you'll get exact ingredients I've used. And we're just going to cook those veg until they're soft. So that's been cooking now for 5 minutes or so, till it's a bit longer, maybe a few minutes, and then you're just going to let that, it's got a bit of colour on it now, it's smelling delicious. Because the last stage is adding the egg and the cheese, and we want everything else to be cooked inside when the egg enrobes that. I'm using free-range organic eggs. They are from chickens who've lived outside, done a bit of scratching around. Did you know that chickens are meant to eat? You know, they're not vegetarians. Wow, I've seen a chicken eat a mouse before. I used to keep chickens when I lived in France and when I lived in England, and till the fox caught them. Yeah, chickens are not just grain eaters. They eat anything. They're real opportunists. They'll eat everything you throw out of the kitchen. They will eat anything. They're like a bit like dinosaurs, aren't they? Anything they can get their beaks on, and they will eat each other. If push comes to shove, if there's one chicken that's being bullied by the others, you know, one chicken, they start on one and then they're all at it. They're quite unpleasant like that, chickens. Think of them as little fluffy sociable animals. Anyway, free range organic because they've got more goodness in the eggs. And for speed, I'm going to just pop that in the NutriBullet to whisk those 6 eggs up. Ta-da! And simply, I mean, this is such a simple recipe. We're going to pour that in there. Now I said 2 ounces of butter. I haven't actually used the 2nd ounce because I didn't need to. You can add as much butter as you like. Base it on what your macros are. Base it on how much fat you're eating. As you can see, it's a vegetarian dish. It's not vegan because of the eggs, but you can still be vegetarian and get plenty of protein into your diet. Much harder if you're vegetarian. Sorry, much harder if you're vegan. And then we just leave that. The egg will cook. It's on a fairly low temperature there now. And we're just going to put the lid on and let it do its thing. So once you put the whole thing in the pan, it's a good idea then to turn the temperature right down, because you don't want it to burn underneath. You just want the egg to cook through. And looks pretty much like it's got to that point. So like I said, this is a veggie version. You can add to this, you can add smoked salmon, you can add canned wild salmon, you could add tuna, you could add ground beef at the point where you cook the onion. There we go. I'm just going to do this. You could add, what else? Gosh, so many options. Chopped up roast chicken. So many ingredients you could put in there if you wanted more protein, you wanted to beef it up a bit. Ground beef I love, and I add it to so many things. Minced beef. Oh, go in the centre, it'll look beautiful. There we go. It smells fantastic. Where's my knife gone? Like I said, brilliant in lunch boxes. You can make it the day before and it will still be, even better if anything the next day. You can cut it up like a pie. You can serve it as a main course. Look at that, lovely. Steaming hot. But you can eat it cold. So many versions. Somebody even told me that they make this and they crumble up corned beef and add it to it. You know, you could even put your sardines in there. So there it is. You could serve it as a main course with salad. Some rocket there. Of course with some fermented vegetables, which I eat with everything. So like a little sprinkle of those. And yeah, a dish that is super versatile and can be made into whatever you want it to be made into. So I hope that was helpful. Delicious kind of frittata, and something that you can use for lunch, for any time of the day. Stop thinking of breakfast and instead just think of food. And let's better taste a bit, see how good it tastes. Oh, it's lovely. Now I want to eat it for lunch. Think less about foods being breakfast foods and just being instead food, which you can eat at any time of the day. Look at that. That's going to go into a lunch box like that. Glass dish, not plastic. Hope that was useful. Thanks for watching. Cheerio for now, and do remember, if you haven't already, please like and please subscribe. It helps my channel to grow. Thank you so much. Till next time. If you enjoyed this one, you might like to watch one of these two next.